Hi Taurus, welcome. This is Taurus Tarot and I'm Joy, and we are getting an energy reading for you. And so it's just some things that were coming through were really about the need to be grounded, to really, as an earth sign, you really do need to be out there in the earth and connecting with nature, connecting with the earth, connecting with the plants and the trees, and the soil and the ocean and the sand and the sky and the clouds. It's hugely important for you during this time, just to kind of help you keep grounded and not get lost in everything that is going on around you. I feel like you are having the tendency to get really caught up in certain things that you yourself are surprised by, like that you may be getting caught up in things that you never would have in the past, but this is okay, because it's important to experience different things. And if you ask me, that's really what it's all about. It's about experiencing different things, and then making not judgment, but making what's the word I'm looking for, just making being discerning about what it is that you want to add to your repertoire of knowledge and belief, and what you don't want, right? And it's important sometimes, like Abraham Hicks will say, you have to know the contrast. You have to know what you don't want in order to more clearly define what you do want. Okay. And so I'm really feeling like you connecting with nature is going to be hugely important for that discernment part to come in. Yeah. So the first card we have here is Judgment. I love this card. This card really for me is like awakening. This is really about awakening. So, and I just heard second awakening, which is really interesting. So, I feel like there may be some realizations that you have come to, some really great aha moments, some really great downloads that you may have had. And then you integrated them to be part of your being, your everyday being. And when these downloads or these aha moments first came in, they were exciting, because they were like these truths that were being revealed to you. But then I feel like once you integrated them, they kind of didn't have that same excitement anymore. And you questioned your connection to source and to the provider of those aha moments and those downloads and those realizations, because it felt as if they weren't coming in so much anymore. So this card is really calling to me as like a second awakening, like you felt disconnected from source, but don't worry, that connection will be, it never went away, but it will be emphasized for you. It'll be re-emphasized for you. So it'll come about in a way that it feels like a second awakening, but really what's happening is that you are just almost like being reminded. I kind of am seeing this as like, it's like you learn new things, right? New things come to you during your meditations, during your quietness, during those times when you're out in nature and you're connecting to source. Things come to you, but then so there's this like aha period, but then there's the next period that comes after that, which is like the integration period, and that's you just integrating these new things that you've learned, these aha moments, these realizations, these downloads, because they can exist out here in the ethers, right? But if you never bring them down and ground them into your 3D reality, then how much good can they really do up here, simply only existing as an idea, right? And then what you need to do is bring it down to exist as action. And so that's what I feel was happening for you. And so now the next, so now like you've integrated those things, and now you're ready for like the next download, like the next series of downloads, the next series of information that is going to come through for you, so then you can then ground those things into your being, right? And I kind of do see it as this progression. It's like you get the downloads, then you have to integrate it into your being, then universe offers opportunities for you to see whether you've really integrated that learning or not, or whether you need more practice to integrate it. And then once you've kind of like mastered those new things, then you're ready for the next level, the next series of things to come in. If it came in all at once, it's just too much, right? And sometimes it has to happen in steps. Like you have to understand the groundwork before you can move up to the next understanding, right? So I kind of feel like that's what was happening. And so there is this Nine of Swords card here too. And this to me, next to the Judgment card, is really just speaking of what I just said. Like I feel like you were having these moments of like feeling very disconnected from source because you weren't getting the downloads and the aha moments that you were used to getting. And I think it was because you were caught up in a whole bunch of other stuff too that kind of disconnected you a little bit in some way, but not completely. But also because, you were working on stuff, you were working on integrating stuff. And sometimes those happenings don't always occur on a conscious level. It's like sometimes you're working at it on a subconscious level, which to me is great also, because when your subconscious is working on your behalf, I think that's really good, as opposed to your subconscious working against you. Okay. So, and then out of this, definitely is coming balance, right? I think there's this, I think because of this second, awakening for you, this second series of downloads of messages for you, is going to help you see that there really is a pattern to it. There really are stages. There really are things that you move through, and that's going to bring a lot of balance for you. That is going to bring a lot of balance for you. So you're not going to get so caught up in the highs and the lows of things, and instead you're really going to understand it as more of, this is part of the process. This is just part of the natural process that you go through. Yeah, so that's awesome. And of course, what that understanding brings for you is just like a whole bunch of abundance, right? A whole bunch of abundance in your 3D reality. This is like, legacy. I'm seeing how this balancing out this, these things that come in for you, and balancing those things out for you, and bringing it down into your, third dimensional reality, for others to see. And that's key also, right? Is that there is definitely a component here, that this is happening within you yourself, and your fearlessness of allowing it to happen, that is actually providing an example for those in your circle, right? For those who know you, to do the same. And it is fearlessness, because going through this process of awakening, of discovering your connection to source, it can be very scary. It can be very, very scary, especially in the framework of mental illness, right? Especially because there are people who will, and you yourself will say it, because that has been the learning up into this point, that has been the conditioning up into this point, that, you know, your mental health is supposed to look a certain way, right? And this idea of spirituality and connection to source and receiving messages from source, it is definitely more acceptable now, but once upon a time it wasn't. You know, you would have been locked up in the loony bin, right? I would have been locked up in the loony bin. So there is definitely some fearlessness that is involved with this. So good for you, you know, in being fearless. And thank you, because like I said, it is definitely providing an example to others. And so along with that balance and that fearlessness, it's inevitable that your 3D reality is going to reflect that. Okay? And so when you bring in this deep connection to source, which is always love-based, it is going to be reflected in your 3D reality, in your surroundings. So you will be taken care of. You know, that you will not have to worry about you know, finances, and if you're going to have enough money to pay off this bill or whatever. You'll be taken care of. Source will provide for you, as long as you can be in this energy and allow it to come forth for you. Be in this energy. Yeah, allow this energy to come forth for you, and allow yourself to be in it. Will be highly rewarding for you. Okay, not just in the reward of balance itself, which is extremely, right, that is an amazing reward, of course, right? Who doesn't want to be in a state of balance, right? That alone is reward in itself. But what that brings is definitely balance and stability in your physical world as well. Okay, really nice for you, Taurus. Really nice. And I just got called to emphasize this. Being enlightened, so enlightenment is not a destination, it is a journey. Being on the journey of enlightenment does not mean you are not going to experience these times of anxiety and worry and fear and you know, hopelessness. Those are all part of this experience. Those are all, you know, you cannot eliminate those things from your experience, because they provide the balance, right? They provide the balance between the dark and the light, the yin and the yang. So you know, you will never be completely free of these experiences, these feelings. However, you can acknowledge them within yourself, and then you can transmute them, right? You can turn them into light. And in that sense, they do not afflict you, right? You acknowledge them, you are aware of them as being present, but you do not indulge in them, and instead you transform them into a different energy that is going to more fully support you and more fully be in your best interest. All right, good stuff, Taurus. Exciting. I'm a Taurus too, so I'm excited. Okay, alrighty. Hope you enjoyed it, and you know, sending you lots of love, lots of aloha, and namaste.